Hi guys, I am back with another video, and this is my completed Moleskine sketchbook. I completed it over a course of about 6 months. I wrote a beginning date, the end date, and it's just fun to flip through it and see how much my style wasn't really changing, but sort of developing a lot of new perspectives to it. And the first page I wrote a nice quote from Juliet Aristid's book. It says, "Good drawings begin long before pencil touches paper." And I think it also relates that a lot of good drawings begin with the sketchbook before you start working on the finished piece. So on the first page, one of the first pages, I like to write down the list of prompts. If I feel stuck at any point, I can look at any of these and just try to draw them. And I also list a few different mediums that I want to experiment with. And this is the Moleskine Art Series, so this is quite thick paper, and it can take quite a lot of mediums. I would not recommend using watercolors, and I'll show you later why. But I even use gouache for this one. So first I started with just some pencil drawings. I was really exploring more of the animal anatomy at the time, and this one is more detailed. And this one too. I really like horses, and I like painting horses too, but I felt like I was very weak on the anatomy of horses. These are more artistic examples. I think this was from some kind of book. Zebra. This picture was, I think, from unsplash.com. Some more pencil drawings. And these are just quotes from books that I was reading at the time. Again, some more animals. And this was the beginning of fall, so that's why I was kind of in a fall mood for drawings. And this was done with the Prismacolor Premier color pencils. And this is actually currently available as a print in my shop. This was a fun experiment where the creatures live. Yeah, didn't really develop this one. Just sort of stated that at that point, lost the idea. This was just fun drawing. I think I was feeling stuck at the time. So I was just doodling around. This is fun. And this too. Wasn't really creating much at the time. So I was just doodling, looking for an idea. And this one is also pretty fun to do. And is now available in my shop. And there are some more pencil. Whenever you see like a drastic change from one medium to another one, or not necessarily medium, but even the style, it means I was stuck at the time. I could not create anything, I could not do anything, so I was sort of switching from one medium to another one, thinking if I'll find some inspiration in that transition. So I picked some of the color pencils from my set and I tried to limit myself to one palette and see what I can create with that. And sort of most of these colors inspired me to some like plant doodles. And so it was getting closer to Christmas, so I was also just doing some Christmas illustrations. Didn't do anything with it, it just stayed at this kind of sketchy part. But I don't know, maybe I'll do something similar next year, something for cards. And again, I was still not in the mood for drawing. This is when I started getting back into my style. of illustrations. And again, I don't think I did anything with any of these, but this was kind of a point for me when I moved back into back on track with my style. This was an idea for some of the greeting cards, also just a sketch. This, I actually made a card like this, just one, but since I made the card, I didn't make a copy of it, so I just resketched the same illustration, thinking to preserve it, thinking maybe I'll use it next for another card. This is also very familiar pattern that you can see in a lot of my cards. I've used it multiple times. Kind of waste of page right here for just small illustration. Again, probably I was stuck. This, I don't know where the picture was taken, but I found this picture on unsplash.com. Really cool website. It was sitting sort of in my collections for a while. And there's another quote from Julia Aristides. I was reading her books at the time. This is brown bamboo. Bombay. What the hell is this called? This. Bombay brown ink. And just a dip pen. This is gouache. Just some experimentation. Again, gouache. I think I did a few of these sketches in one night. Yeah, this is after a painting that I saw online. So this is not mine. But it was oil painting, I think. Or was it pastel? Something like this. And I like to see if I can try to replicate the colors with gouache, because I have a fairly limited palette. But I also write it down as better than perfect. So it's done. Not perfect, but done. And I think this is the last one from that night. This one was, I think from a picture, but I don't know. Turned out very dark. Not that familiar with gouaches, but it's still pretty cool. And this is just some experiment markers. Some Copic and some are just general sketching markers. Don't remember where I got them from. And I did it on a separate sheet of paper, but I decided to stick it into my sketchbook because I really liked it. And these are gouache, just color studies and also sort of abstract studies. Never really did anything with them, but I just like these color palettes. Maybe later I'll come back to this. Here is another gouache sketch, painting, I don't know. Not really painting, just a sketch. And I have a video for this one. I filmed my process. It's kind of messy, but it was still fun to film it. I'm gonna leave a link in the description. This was a mess. I was not in the mood for creating anything, but I decided to do it anyway, and I just decided to leave this page in here. I used to rip out a lot of pages if I didn't feel like it turned out well, but I decided just keep that one. We got some quotes, some carnations. I don't know why I did this one. I kind of started good with the outline drawing, really liked it, but when I started shading, I was not feeling it, and it turned out a little kind of stylized. I was going for a very, very realistic style, but it's okay. This was the beginning of my random drawing series. This was the very first spread, and it was different types of street lights. I also have a video for this one you can check out on my channel. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was another artist block. was working on some faces and just was really trying to do the proportions, just I guess going for a nice pop of color. And I was using actually this Conte. I think this is chalk. Or is it charcoal? I don't know. Yeah, charcoal. I think it's charcoal. This was also from a picture. Just really liked the simplicity of the lines and just how it looked. And the next day, I mean, maybe not the next day, a few days later, I decided to do the same one in color. So I used the gesso and I applied the gesso on my page. You can see that it's a little more white. So I applied about 2 layers of gesso and then I use oils on top of it. I'm not a big fan of painting over gesso paper because I feel like I just like the little bit of canvas texture to it when I'm painting. It grabs the paint a little better, but it was still fun. I like how these colors turned out. This was really nice. Okay, almost the end. Oh, this was first as an outline drawing. So I don't really like how it looks now because you can see these thick outlines in the petals. But I was looking at it and I was thinking, what if I add some shading to it? And I just went for it. Okay. It's fine. And another artist block. You can see the dramatic change from this one. And I think this is when I started reading this book. A book that takes its time. And it really helped me to get out of my creative block. And it talks a lot about your creativity and your thinking process overall and how not to put too much pressure on yourself and how to have fun in the moment. Okay. It's a really fun book. And this, I was looking what I can do with that pattern that I developed for greeting cards. So I just put it on vellum and I tried different colors, just for experiment. And there's another one. So this one I still under the influence of that book, sort of loosening up and trying something new. Not new necessarily, but I like a combination of black and gold. And for this gold, I've used this Deco Color Premium, I don't know if it says anything, oil-based metallic paint marker. Oh, that's a really fun one. It has quite a thick point, but the colors that it makes is really, really opaque paint. Have some more creative patterns. I was thinking of do something on top of it, but sort of idea never came back to me. There's some more sort of illustrations, experiments, some more characters. It's hard to see, probably. I was using this color erase, Prismacolor color erase color pencil, which is easy to erase and I like it for sketching. And that was my son's doodles, and that was it. What else? Oh, these are just some swatches of colors. I like to test it on the back so I know how they look. For example, look how big they always bleed, so I can see that they will bleed through. For example, Tombow markers, they barely leave any trace on the other side. I almost can't see it. Also testing some ink to see if it feathers or not. Some metallic pens. And this was probably the only time I used watercolors. And I don't know if you can see it, probably not. But the page actually buckled a little bit. But it's not too much, it's not too bad. But I didn't, yeah, it's hard to see, but I didn't like the effect. So I attached a few scrap pieces of watercolor paper just in case of the inspiration coming for some watercolor, so I'll have some watercolor on hand. Yeah, so this is it. You can kind of get the idea of my creative process. It kind of goes from one phase to another one. But I like to flip through it. I like to see all of them, different ones. Because it's a sketchbook, it's a place for experimentation and fun. So overall, very satisfied with the quality of the paper. It takes marker well, it takes pen and pencil very well. I'm not a big fan of the yellowish paper, so the new sketchbook that I got that I'm working in right now is this one. And this is by DaVinci, the brand DaVinci. And this one has a much whiter paper. And it's also about the same thickness. It is the same thickness, I think. Very nice thick paper, so I'm working on this one. And I'll show you this one when I'm done with that one. Okay guys, it's good to see you. Thank you for checking out my video. Subscribe, like my video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!